Okay, so we're up to another new section in human resources, and so again, I'm reminding you, don't forget to look at your Learn Tos. Okay, so we're up to strategies in human resources. Okay, the first one we'll be looking at is leadership style, and you can see there is a video attached. Please watch the videos. Okay, if we were in class, I'd be asking you to discuss this, and I haven't actually left room in your booklet. So I just want you to take a moment to think, what makes a good leader? What do you feel would be the characteristics of a good leader? If you have a job and think about, whether or not you like your boss, I mean, if you like them, you should know some good characteristics of a leader straight up. If you dislike your boss, well, it's pretty much whatever the opposite of what they are. Okay. So there's a range of leadership styles that are used by managers globally. Recall from prelim business studies the main features of basic management approaches. So we've looked at all of these, but we'll just quickly go over them again because you might have forgotten by now. Okay, so we've got our classical authoritative or autocratic approaches. These are very focused on planning, organising and controlling. If you think back to the classroom when I did the paper planes production line experiment with you, that was a very classical, scientific, authoritative, autocratic approach where everybody was given a very specific task and they had to just perform that one task. Okay, the behavioural approach sees management as leading, motivating and communicating, most commonly seen in a participative or democratic leadership style. Again, back to our paper planes experiment, when I switched my directions I gave you and allowed you to creatively design your own paper aeroplane and work on it alone, coming up with the best design that you could. If you recall, when we flew our classical scientific aeroplanes and our behavioural aeroplanes actually performed better, just as employees generally perform better with behavioural approach, where they have a little bit more input into what's going on. The last approach here on this page is the contingency approach, which uses the most appropriate approach depending on the situation and changes in circumstances. So back to our paper aeroplanes, if I wanted to make a consistent product that was exactly the same, perform the same all the time, and I wanted it very fast and efficient, scientific approach was the way to go. However, if I wanted to differentiate my product, then behavioural was more a way to go, where the employees had some input. So contingency approach can switch between a variety of different ways of managing a business so as to give the business the outcome that they are seeking at the time. So if circumstances change, they're willing to change to optimize their output, production, service, whatever. Okay, forms of leadership style. So autocratic, bureaucratic, democratic, and laissez-faire. Just before I move on to the table, let's just read. Okay, so Australian managers are different to managers overseas in that they are not common users of directive or autocratic approaches, primarily because Australia tends to have more of an egalitarian culture, more equal. It's built on mateship, cutting down the tall poppies and supporting the underdog. So these elements differ from many of those leaders overseas and may account for difficulties and advantages for Australians employed in some global corporations. So our autocratic managers see themselves as the sole decision maker. They show little concern about others' opinions. The focus is on completing the goals, and they dictate tasks that are to be accomplished. Again, our paper aeroplanes. Bureaucratic leaders, they're strictly by the book. They rely on rules and regulations, act a bit like as if they're a police officer. It's appropriate when employees are permitted no discretion. So Very similar to that classical scientific where things have to be done exactly a certain way to ensure whatever. Let's see an example. Okay, if you were producing components for a phone, let's just say an iPhone, there would be a very strict set of rules about how things were supposed to be done. This would be dictated by Apple because they want to have a consistently performing product. So it's quite likely there would be a very bureaucratic leadership style happening in those places where the components are made. Democratic. This is almost a reversal of autocratic. So they want to share responsibility, collaborates opinions when decision making, actually wants employee input. So this is a little bit more towards our behavioural theory of management. Is a concerned coach of the team. So rather than being the boss and going, you do what I say, it's like, okay, guys, let's work together. What can we do? How can we achieve? This fourth one that I've included here, laissez-faire, often pops up as a multiple choice question, I've noticed. So understanding what laissez-faire management style is could be useful. Laissez-faire is a French term, and it's kind of a little bit like que sera, sera, like what will be, will be. It's a hands-off approach. The leaders or managers turn over control and actually delegate responsibility to others. They don't want to be concerned with every little thing that happens. They're happy to hand that over to other people and just see what happens. This actually works well when employees are self-motivating. An example of this would be in tech industries like Google, who really encourage their workers to go off and do their own projects and come up with their own new ideas. So yeah, that'd probably be the easiest example of laissez-faire management for us to understand. Okay, leadership styles. Autocratic directive leadership. The leader tells subordinates what to do and exercises firm rule. When should it be used? Look, in military or emergency type situations like paramedics, firemen, policemen, certain things have to happen a certain way to ensure everybody's safety, well-being. So an autocratic directive style of leadership would really work in those circumstances. If somebody's considered a visionary leader, this is where the leader creates a realistic, credible vision of the future that improves on the present situation. They actually see the big picture. So instead of looking at every little tiny detail, they've got an idea of what they really want the final outcome to be, and that's what they work towards. This is really a useful style when it comes to motivating staff who might be unhappy with the present situation. So if they would say, okay, this is unfortunately where we are, but this is where I'd like us to get to. If they can sell their employees on that big picture idea of where they want things to end up, that can be really useful. Participative leadership. The leader involves the team in making some, but not all, key decisions. Leader communicates well with the team, so there's participation on different levels. This would work well where a new manager's coming to a business with staff who've been there for a long time. If you had a new boss coming in and they go, right, we're going to change this, we're going to change that, there's going to be a lot of resistance from employees. So a new manager would come in, be participative and go, okay, what have we got going on? That's great. Look, I wouldn't mind fixing this, changing this somewhat. Have you got any ideas? And letting everybody participate in the changes. People are going to be a lot more receptive to that. Our coaching leader focuses on the development of individuals and groups, requires individuals to possess willingness to improve, and a patient leader, the leader guides and directs. So when would this be used? So if you had a responsible, experienced and agreeable staff that are willing to improve themselves, you can go in there and say, okay, doing a great job. How about we improve this? And again, a little bit more of that coach, the idea of working together as a team. Okay, the clip that's attached to this one, Welcome to the Movies, Leadership in Films. It's a bit of a fun one, but hey, we need a little bit of fun. All right, multiple choice question. A manager builds relationships with individual employees and encourages their contribution to decision making in the workplace. What leadership style is this? Builds relationships, encourages contribution. Autocratic? Probably not. Democratic? Maybe. Laissez-Faire? Builds relationships, encourages contribution. They're not really giving it all away to the employees to do. Political? Well, we haven't really looked at that one, but from what we do know, the answer is pretty obvious. The answer is B, democratic. Great work, guys. Another one. Which of the following is an example of autocratic leadership? Enabling employees to make complex decisions, allowing employees to determine work schedules, consulting employees about changing work hours, organising employees according to their individual expertise. If you remember, an autocratic leadership is all about control and dictating what people do. So enabling, no. Allowing, no. Consulting, no. The answer is D, organising employees according to individual expertise. Okay, the new CEO of Red Flash Sports Clothing Proprietary Limited is determined to consult with stakeholders to achieve specific production targets. What is her leadership style? Autocratic, contingency, hierarchical, or participative? Let's see, what is it? She's determined to consult with stakeholders. Now, stakeholders, as you remember, is a wide and varied group. So would an autocrat care what anybody else wanted? Contingency, that is being able to change if things change. This is about specific production targets, so it doesn't feel like it's that. Hierarchical, that is where you have a very top-down management style where the boss is at the top and they tell the next person down what to do, and then they tell it down, and then they tell it down. So again, not very consultative. So the answer is D, participative. Okay, in your work booklets, you have some further readings to look at on different leadership styles. I'm just going to pause for a sec so I can see what they are. Hang on. Okay, so I've just grabbed the work booklet, and you have further readings on directive leadership, visionary, affiliative, participative, the pace-setting leader, coaching leadership style, and laissez-faire. So that's to help you. Sometimes the HSC questions can use some slightly different terminology, particularly in this area of leadership. So it's well worth just having a quick read and familiarising yourselves with some of the different ways that leadership is categorised. Okay, now we move on to job design. Job design is the process of designing the content of a job and how it will interact with other jobs and employees so as to motivate and retain an employee and achieve the business's goals. Some of the things that an employee will look for in their job include challenge. People do like to be challenged in their job. They do not like to be bored. A variety of tasks. Again, that takes away from that idea of boredom. Flexibility. You don't want to be stuck doing the same thing. A little bit of room to move is well appreciated. Opportunity for achievement. Some social interaction. And the opportunity for ongoing learning and development. Again, that comes very similar to challenge, variety of tasks, and flexibility by allowing people opportunities to develop within their role or to learn new skills is always going to be appreciated. So the core elements of a well-designed job. Okay, so you would know what resources you have available to you. There would be opportunity for achievement, opportunity for social interaction, opportunity for ongoing learning and development. You would know exactly what the task was that you had to do. There would be some challenge in there, some variety of tasks, some discretion and autonomy. You don't necessarily want somebody saying you must do this exactly like this every time you do this. So a little bit of discretion and a little bit of autonomy, not having someone breathing down your neck, and again that idea of flexibility. Job design general. Okay, so common methods used in job design today are developing broader, more generalised and flexible jobs so they can attract, motivate, retain and use labour more flexibly and efficiently. General skills that could be part of a job design include things like communication skills, physical presentation, enthusiastic personality, strong work ethic and a team player. Now, physical presentation doesn't come down to whether or not you're pretty. It could just be that you are well-groomed and hygienic, as in you don't have bad BO and dirty, disgusting fingernails. For example, if you were working in food service industry and you smelled bad and your fingernails were dirty, people would not necessarily want to take anything that you've touched. So physical presentation is part of general job design. Okay, job design methods. Okay, so there's actually a video here that helps explain this a little bit more, but I'll just very quickly go through the broad dot points, I guess, under job design methods. So there's job rotation, job enlargement, job enrichment, semi-autonomous work groups, cross-functional team-based matrix structures, and flexible work structures. So job rotation, not doing the same thing all the time. Job enlargement, I guess the idea of having greater capacity to do things. Job enrichment, you're actually getting something out of it. Semi-autonomous work groups, so teams that work together that don't need a boss breathing down their neck every 5 seconds. Cross-functional team-based matrix structures, okay, so teams who are able to do a broad range of things. And flexible work structures, again, you aren't necessarily nailed down to one element all the time. Again, watch the video. Okay, job design specific. So specialization in job design involves jobs being broken down into specialist skill areas in order to improve knowledge and skills, to increase output, to reduce errors and labour costs, and to control quality. Job specialisation can lead to job repetition, and employees may have little input into their work. So if somebody's role is very specialised, it can be quite narrow. So specialisation, increased output is an advantage. Improved knowledge, increased efficiency, reduction in errors, reduced labour costs. They're our up points, our thumbs up. Our thumbs down, it means it can lead to less challenging work, lower job satisfaction, be quite repetitious and boring, provide less social interaction, and limits the ability to share knowledge. Okay. In your booklets, you have a copy of this ad. Let me just double check. National Workforce Food and Beverage Attendants. Sorry, it's not the clearest printed thing. But what I'd like you to do is you've got 2 columns in your work booklets, one for general skills, one for specific skills. So I'm just going to read through the ad with you, but I'm going to let you determine what you think are general skills and which are specific. Okay, so the team at National Workforce, National Workforce are a leading provider of hospitality staff throughout the largest venues in Australia. We pride ourselves on assisting our clients with high quality and professional staff who possess a can-do attitude. The positions available. We are seeking bubbly, professional and outgoing food and beverage attendants for a popular event venue located within the Broadmeadow area. Enjoy great casual pay rates. Be involved in the action. Have you got the following? Strong communication skills. Must have a current New South Wales responsible service of alcohol certificate. At least 6 months prior bar or food handling experience. Prior customer service experience. Immaculate grooming. Why wait? Apply now by entering the below link into your browser and completing your online application form. And there's some details there. We're looking forward to working with you, National Workforce. So I'd like you to just take a few moments, read the ad again, it's printed in your work booklet, and work out what you think would be general skills for this job and what are the specific skills that are required. All right, I'll catch you later.